Coming Together is a really inspiring episode of Postcards from Buster. This is the 37th episode of the first season and it's in Seattle, Washington. Now, I will say I was a little bit disappointed we didn't get to see too much of the touristy aspect of Seattle because Seattle is very high up on my list of places to visit next. And I was kind of looking forward to seeing things that I might actually see when I go. But that aside, it's definitely a very inspirational episode. It starts off with information about a benefit that's going to be happening and what a benefit actually is. And then Buster gets to see a gospel choir. And I have to say, it's entertaining, but it's really motivational. And it just made me want to join in and be part of it. It was really infectious, that kind of energy and enthusiasm that they had. And then Buster ends up going to this camp because Maura and Carlos are going to be there for, I think it was one day and one night. And Buster was kind of nervous about going because the other kids had already been there a week and he felt like he wouldn't really fit in with, especially with being there for such a short space of time. But he manages to take along Deshay, his new friend, and when they're there, they're taking part in all kinds of activities, canoeing and indoor rock climbing. And apparently there's this thing called flipping, where you intentionally flip a boat or a little canoe or whatever to practice getting back in, which seems really sensible because if you know how to react if you fall in the water, that's so much safer than if you don't. But it really made me want to not go to that kind of camp. Not that I'm young enough, but it sounded pretty terrifying. But it was really great to see the children working together, supporting each other, encouraging each other. And this is what this episode is really about working together and supporting one another. And there's this really sweet moment where Buster says he wished he'd been able to help people more. And his father starts to list all of the things that Buster's actually done to be helpful, not just in this episode, but in Arthur as well. And we get to see the clip when he visited Mr. Morrison Hospital, which I just thought was so sweet and so lovely. So yeah, I would have liked to have seen more of Seattle. We got to see a seaplane, and I think this is the first time we've actually been in an aeroplane in Postcards from Buster, aside from the animated airplane his father's piloting, of course. But I thought that was pretty cool and kind of made me want to go on one of those. So there are a lot of really great things in this. I just wish there'd been more of Seattle, Washington itself. But that aside, Coming Together is certainly very fascinating. The soul food looks delicious. It will make you hungry. And generally, it's just a really enjoyable episode.